Wow, where to start? That game was absolutely chaos, particularly after Luton made it 2-1. United bombed out, brilliant, 10 minutes, 2-0 up. But as we've seen with United in the Champions League, they cannot keep a 2-goal lead. As soon as it goes to 2-1, they kick the ball long, all control's gone. And Luton had about 40 minutes where they were just attacking on United. And I thought something's got to change at half time, or it's going to end 2-2 or even 3-2 to Luton. Johnny Evans comes on, was excellent. Casemiro came off because he was walking red card. McTominay did well. United got better in the second half. The control wasn't ultimately there in the second half, but what they were dangerous at in the second half was those long balls, which were losing control. But to be honest, they could have scored 3 or 4 in that second half. The thing that's mad about it is Man United got played out the park at moments in that game, but also could have scored 5 goals. That's why it's such a difficult game to get my head around. But I have to say, Kobbie Mainoo, amongst all the chaos, amongst everything going on, Kobbie Mainoo was just there, and he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. I love Bruno Fernandes. You know I'm a big fan of Bruno Fernandes, but today was one of his poorest performances in a Manchester United shirt, particularly in that first half. Casemiro looked like he was just going to get sent off him. And to be fair, tactically, the way we set up gives Casemiro way too much to do. And that doesn't help. But Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes were poor today, and they could not keep the ball at their feet. It was like they didn't know how to keep the ball. It was like they didn't want the ball. It's like no one wanted the ball at their feet. And Kobbie Mainoo played today. Not only did he make 9 ball recoveries, 5 out of 5 dribbles completed, but he just made 2 key passes on 5 ground duels, 5 out of 5 dribbles completed, 9 ball recoveries. He was everywhere. He even made an amazing tackle, which he got a yellow card for, which is an absolute joke. Absolute joke. But Man United were in this pure chaos. I'm going to explain how good Kobbie Mainoo was to you guys. Man United were in absolute chaos. We could not keep the ball. We were giving the ball away. We couldn't get the ball for more than 3 seconds. Every time Kobbie Mainoo got the ball just stuck to his feet. He just glided. He went round 2 or 3 players. He nutmegged players. He played it through. There was even a time in the final third where he played the ball around a few players and then lost it, and then he got the ball again and he flicked it onto Garnacho. Whether it's in the final third, whether it's in the defensive third, all phases of the pitch, Kobbie Mainoo was amazing. He was so much more mature and composed and calm than his other teammates. Kobbie Mainoo is the most inexperienced guy in this United squad, and he just showed the maturity. The conditions of that game was chaotic. United players looked scared to have the ball, scared to play the ball, kept playing it long. And every time he got the ball, he was like, composure, calm. And he was unbelievable today. You could argue he was man of the match. Hojlund scored 2 goals, so he'll get man of the match. But the only element of calmness was Kobbie Mainoo today. I mean, Delo had a decent game, Hojlund had a decent game, but Kobbie Mainoo, for me, compared to the rest of the team, he showed absolute levels today. He embarrassed his teammates because the performance, particularly at the end of the first half, was horrific. We were conceding chances. Maguire had his worst game. Maguire, that's the worst I've seen Maguire since the Ollie days, the Ollie Ragnick days. Casemiro was having a blunder. These experienced players were having a blunder. They were treating the ball like a hot potato. And there is Mainoo, calm, composed, keeping the ball. I'll have the ball. I'll take loads of touches. The ball doesn't lose his feet. He's one of the only players that's good in possession. You can see that Lisandro Martinez is missing because United are massively struggling and build up, making the short passes. We're having to go long. No Martinez, no Shaw. United having to go long because no one else wants to have the ball other than Mainoo. Mainoo and Delo are the only 2 players, and that's what United back 7, as I would say, that would comfortable with the ball at the feet, comfortable in possession, comfortable in build-up. And you can see that with Martinez and Shaw's absence because the other players weren't comfortable on the ball. We couldn't keep the ball well, and Luton could have scored 2 or 3 today. Now, the mad thing is, the football we're playing is not sustainable. And some of it does go on to Ten Hag. Tactically, there's a lot of space being left in behind. We're not closing out games. We're continuing to go long. You've brought Onana. We're continuing to go long with Onana when he can play short. But then you also have to say physically, the United squad just can't compete with Luton. Luton seem fitter than us. They seem to be able to run more than us. I think that the transitional football we are playing can work, but to do that, we need to be physically good, and we look exhausted. I don't think we have players that are physically able to play the way we want to play, and that's a problem. I think Ten Hag needs to make some tactical changes because I think while we're a transition-based side, we can't be transitional all the time. I think we've got to realise when we're 2-0 up, now we don't need to be a transition-based team. Let's go have some control, because how many times have we dropped 2-0 leads? That's why we got knocked out of the Champions League, because every time we were 2-0 up, we lost control. Particularly after we conceded 1, you completely lost control. It's good to be a transition team and it works in senses, but I think Ten Hag's got to know when to not be a transition team and when just to simplify it. When you're 2-0 up, let's just simplify now. Let's stop going long. Let's stop having long shots. Let's stop giving the ball away, because it's a dangerous lead, a 2-0 lead, and we saw that today. It's like we can play transitional football, but then all of a sudden we then become lethargic as well. It's almost like maybe sometimes we don't actually have the players to play that way for 90 minutes. The midfield felt lethargic. Luton felt that they could run more than us. There was a lot of space, a lot of gaps in midfield, and some of that comes to Ten Hag and the rest defence and the structure. Some of that comes to maybe Casemiro not having the legs. Some of that comes to United players not having the physical capabilities to do that. But that is a big issue. And I think for me, I'm willing to back Ten Hag, and I'm willing to see what he can do when he's got the right players in, because I think it's a mixture of tactics and players coming down today. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we got the win and we created the better chances. While we weren't in control, whilst in terms of sustainability, the way we're playing might not be the best in the long term, Hojlund had another great game. Johnny Evans came on, was brilliant. Kobbie Mainoo was so composed, so brilliant. He embarrassed his teammates. We won the game. We won 5 games in a row under Ten Hag. We had the higher XG. We could have scored 4 or 5. We had 2.81 XG to the 1.74. We had so many one-on-ones, but for some reason we were trying to go round the keeper. For me, while I can say, look, the football wasn't the best and it wasn't the most sustainable, and there's a lot of things to be worried about from the football we're seeing from that standpoint, I also say, well, actually, Garnacho could have got one more. Hojlund could have got one more. Rashford maybe could have got a goal. Bruno could have got a goal. Weirdly, the way we played made it look like Luton was going to score, but also made it look like we could have scored 4 or 5. It's a weird way to explain it. It's a weird way to explain this game, because it's like we wasted our opportunities on the counter-attacks. We set ourselves up for Luton to score, but we got the 3 points. And at the end of the day, all I care about is the 3 points. We've won 5 games in a row. We're really, really improving. Do you know what I mean? And I say we're really improving results-wise. I'm going to be positive. I think the football was scary. I think it was chaos, but we won. That's what I mean. We won. We won. We could have scored 3 or 4. Luton is not an easy ground to go to. I'm absolutely waffling here, to be honest. Luton almost took points off City, almost took points off Arsenal, took points off Liverpool. Luton away is a difficult game. Yes, it's a bit like the Villa game where we didn't control out the game and didn't see out the game, and ultimately it feels unsustainable. We had the better chances. We could have scored 4 or 5. Hojlund got 2 goals. Garnacho got an assist. Kobbie Mainoo was absolutely excellent. Do you know what? I'm just going to be positive. I'm happy we won. I'm gassed we won. It was a bit of a scary game. There was times where we couldn't control the game. We weren't at our best. I don't think Bruno had his best game. I thought Maguire was absolutely horrific. But you know what? We are missing Martinez. We're missing Shaw. They're key in build-up. I want Man United to just get as many wins as they can. See if we can push Tottenham for 4th. See if we can. Let's just get to summer. See if we can push Tottenham for 4th, because then we've got a higher budget in the summer. We're in the Champions League. We've got more pull. I want to see Ineos come in, Dan Ashworth come in, get the right players that can match the physical demands and the technical demands to play the way Ten Hag wants to play, and see how Ten Hag does. Because while the performance wasn't convincing, we got the win over the line. We've seen that Hojlund does well. We're seeing that Delot does well. We're seeing that Mainoo does well. I do think the way that Ten Hag wants to play can work and can be more sustainable, but we don't have the players physically able to do that. And I think I want to see us bring in the players that are physically able to do that. I think there are some issues where we are inviting on pressure. We're making it easy for Luton. There's too much space. But we've won 5 games in a row. We could have scored 5. It was chaos. It was erratic, but it wasn't an easy game. Rasmus Hojlund was incredible. Not just that he scored 2 goals and the way he moved his body. I think that second goal was intentional. But also you look at Hojlund, his runs in behind, his ability to keep the ball. I saw a brilliant performance in Mainoo. I saw a good performance in Hojlund. I think Garnacho wasn't at his best, but he was knackered. I actually think Rashford was knackered, and my biggest criticism is why can't Amad Diallo get on the pitch, to be honest, more than the tactics. Johnny Evans came on. He was absolutely fantastic. Delot had a decent game. We're missing Martinez, we're missing Shaw. They are so crucial to the way we want to play and build up, because we have to play long, because we don't have players comfortable playing the way we want to play, and we're going to have less control of the game, but it's getting us the wins. I don't know how I feel, because there's so much to digest, so I feel like I'm waffling, but I was impressed by some players. I wasn't impressed by other players. I wasn't impressed by the experienced players today, but I just don't care anymore. We got the win, and that's important for me. I'm not going to be negative. I see a lot of people being negative on Twitter, and I'm not 100% happy, but we got the win, and Hojlund scored 2. So let's take this well.